Hi everybody, and welcome to another Channel 8 sports presentation. Tonight from East Brunswick High School Gymnasium, it is wrestling as East Brunswick takes on South River in a Greater Middlesex Conference meet. Hi, Jimmy Allinder, being joined as always by Bob Cancro. And Bob, we've said it before in the past, whenever South River and East Brunswick gets together in an athletic match, there's a little extra involved. You can throw out the records, and tonight we have that.
Well, absolutely. Both teams are having subpar years. South River comes in at 8-7. The Bears are 2-7. So from that standpoint, you might say this is not really a great match. But again, when they have competitiveness because of the battle for Old Bridge Turnpike, it changes everything. The Rams come in having had 4 kids in the county finals just last week. They finished 4th as a team, doing a nice job there. They're heading for the state playoffs next week against Shore Regional. They had their one champion in Tommy Noto. East Brunswick did not have that great a finish, 10th place, but one champion in Tommy Corey at 170 pounds. And that should be interesting tonight to see if South River moves their Ricky Santos up from the 160s up to 170 to meet up with Corio. But the key thing is that matchup of two rivals. Tommy Noto's dad, the other day said that Tom only had 2 matches left that he could wrestle out of the 3 remaining for South River. He went on Wednesday night to get his 100th career victory against Colonia, and his dad said, there's no way you're going to stop a South River wrestler from competing against East Brunswick.
Okay. Let's bring this up, okay? East Brunswick has always been a power in wrestling throughout the years. In the recent years, that hasn't been the case. It's been a roller coaster ride for them. Can you pinpoint anything, Bob? You've been associated with the program in the past. Do you have any thoughts as to why that might be? Is it just cyclical, or is this something that you see a trend going on?
I think there's a little bit of a cyclical situation here. This year happens to be a very young team, so that's part of the explanation for the problems that the Bears are having. On the other hand, there are so many things that are going on, and East Brunswick has so many things to offer kids. It's sometimes difficult to get enough kids out to really make a decent showing for yourself. So it's tough like that. With South River being a smaller school, they kind of focus on a few things, and wrestling happens to be one. So even though they're almost around 500, they're still a powerhouse.
Okay, well, as we had set up on top, despite the records, this is going to be a barn burner. The crowd is already starting to get here. We're going to have the matches in a few seconds, but we're going to take a break right now and be back with the first match after this. Okay, we are back here at East Brunswick High School as this gymnasium fills up for a match between East Brunswick and South River in wrestling. You see the mat there. But before we begin this evening's action, this is the last regular season match for East Brunswick. So, as is the tradition, the senior members and parents will be introduced. And up front is Brian Forte with parents Brian and Gina. You see there.
Brian's done a nice job filling in at a couple of spots in the upper weights for the Bears this year.
Okay. Ben Goddard. Correct my pronunciation,
Goddard.
Bob. Goddard, okay. And that is his parents, Randy and Linda.
Yeah, Randy, his dad and mom are very supportive of the program. He's got a younger brother wrestling in the rec program right now. Andrew's down there. And done a nice job. He was a transfer coming in from Ohio, and he's done very well for the Bears. Filled in very nicely in the lineup.
Dave Koningsberg and his mother, Linda, are the next one, and I think I see another little one there on the mat.
Well, there are always little ones around. We always comment how in wrestling you're always going to find families there. I don't think she's going to be wrestling for the Bears, but you never know.
Gail Marshall and parents Felipe and Federique.
Gail had his older brother, Yannick, who also wrestled for the Bears. So Gail, one of the co-captains, again, keeping the tradition of families who come out wrestling. And I'll comment on this next one that was out there, and that's
Josh Merrill.
Josh Merrill and his
parents,
dad.
George and Leslie.
Yeah, George Guido was a wrestler. He wrestled for me. That tells you how old I am. George is one of my wrestlers. He was president of the East Brunswick Wrestling Club for several years, and he's kind of gone into semi-retirement. But George is a fine, supportive wrestler and a good wrestler in his own right when he was here at East Brunswick.
Okay, and the final ones, Mark Meyer and parents George and Linda, Daniel Santiago and parents Angel and Nancy, and Andrew Schraub and parents Erwin and Barbara.
Yeah.
So congratulations to all those seniors. Okay, we're going to take a quick break right now, and after the anthem, we're going to come up and we'll have the first match. Okay, back here at East Brunswick High School, we are about to begin the action. You see the captains shaking hands. And first match, Bob, is going to be between two, not unusual, two freshmen in the 103 class.
When you get the little guys down there, Keith Richings for East Brunswick against Flavio Salvador for the Rams. Yeah, you're right, not uncommon. It's tough to fill those lower weight classes, and when they created the new weight class a few years ago, they made an effort to try to put the weight classes where the kids were, and that's in the middle of the classes. So it's tough to find those little guys. So you got two freshmen out here.
And do we know anything about Salvador? I know we couldn't get the records of the South River kids.
Now they don't
have
the records.
Some records.
We don't have an awful lot. The other night, let's see if he wrestled against. He did wrestle against Colonia, and he lost. He was pinned in the third period against Colonia the other day, but we don't have a record there. Keith has been in the wrestling program in East Brunswick for a number of years. His dad's involved. His younger brother Corey is also involved. So again, a wrestling family.
Caution applied there as we're underway here in the 103-pound match.
Yeah, Bill Lana is our referee. He's he was the cadet supervisor in the Central Jersey chapter. Nice shrug and then a single leg by Keith, and he gets the takedown.
So Richings takes a 2-0 lead.
Keith
Good.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to just say, I was just making an observation about the crowd. As we expected, it's a good crowd, and I'm sure it's going to get vocal as we move along.
You always get the enthusiasm, as I said earlier in the top of the program. The battle for Old Bridge Turnpike. Both teams have pretty good followings. It's a little bit down from what you might have had a few years ago when both teams were really hot, but still a nice crowd for this evening's contest.
Richings still in the commanding position.
He's got that ball and chain and a half Nelson. He's got it, and he's got some points on the back. Bill Lanai counting out there. He's got to bring him back. Lock that up. Good position in there.
Yeah, he's got him in bad shape. Under a minute left to go. So
he's got to lift that leg a little bit, maybe turk it to lock it up deeper. So arches into that a little bit, brings that head up. He should be in good shape. 44 seconds to go. So that's a lot of time, and there it is.
So, just a minute and 18 into the match, Keith Richings gives East Brunswick a 6-0 lead.
Picks up his 12th win of the season to go along with a championship at the Petty Tournament earlier in the season. And we bring out our other referee. They're working with an assistant referee tonight, and that's Bob Millay.
And Bob Millay will referee the 112-pound match featuring, this is Mark Blackborough of East Brunswick.
And Rich Vieira.
Okay.
Ryan Vieira, I'm sorry. Ryan Vieira for the Rams, which means they may be moving Tommy Noto up to 119 pounds.
Okay, we will see. Now, we should note that Blackborough is winless on this season. He only has an 0-4 record, which means he hasn't wrestled a lot.
He's a sophomore. He's done, I guess, mostly his JV work that's his varsity record at 0-4. But Mark's a hard worker. He's another kid who's come up through the rec program, and both South River's had a very good program for a few years. East Brunswick's building itself back up again with its rec program, and you really need a feeder program. Every sport has to have kids coming up through the ranks, getting some experience, because the way the sport is today, you can't expect kids to come in as sophomores, in the case of East Brunswick with a 3-year high school, and come against the competition that we get in the red division of the GMC and in this area.
And it's interesting to point out that while East Brunswick and South River have always maintained excellence in this sport, the other teams, the other schools have really come on their programs.
Oh, absolutely. South Brunswick, especially under Joe Doherty, has done a real good job the last couple of years, winning the districts last year, their first district title. So it's been very nice. Mark got in a nice single there, but just couldn't quite finish off, had the knee pick. And Vieira going for the ankle, diving at it. He's got him in a high leg.
That was a quick move.
Very well. A lot of these kids, right off that whistle, they just dive for him. And Vieira has the takedown.
And a 2-0 lead. Another team that's down, Bob, is Saraville.
Saraville, Zaleski over there has been there for a number of years. He's had some ups and downs. He had a few good years not too long ago, but he's had a hard time coming up with some good squads in the last few years. But, Lenny's a hard worker, and he works, he's always beating the bush for the kids, trying to get them out. So I'm sure he'll bounce back in the next couple of years.
As we expect this East Brunswick team, too, as well.
I think they're going to come. They are young, as is South River. And I guess their record is Mark gets the escape. Their record is only 8-7 on the season. Mark's got that single again.
He's got a lock, too, now. It's 2-1 is the score.
Vieira has that whizzer, so that's a counter. Got that arm over the shoulder. And this is the battle. When you get whizzer on whizzer there.
Strength, then.
That's a strength move.
Good move.
Nice move by Mark. Got in there deep on the double. Turned the corner, and they go out of bounds.
All right. So with that, Mark takes a 3-2 lead, and he has 5 seconds to hold on to prevent the escape.
And he will have, if I caught it right, he will have choice, I think, in the even bouts. I'll have to check that. I might have missed that on the coin toss.
And that will do it after the first period.
Mark Blackborough with a 3-2 lead. Okay. The choice was Vieira's, and he deferred. And Mark Blackborough takes the bottom position, the defense, as they go to the second period. Clasp signaled by Bob Millay. They came up off the mat, and before they came off the mat, Vieira locked hands.
Which means?
Well, when you're on the mat and you're in the offensive position on top, you cannot lock hands around the body or both legs, because obviously you could just latch in there and never let go. So, but when they come up off the mat, then they can lock up. But he immediately went to a clasp around the waist off the whistle, and the signal was given. They always give the defensive man an opportunity to, if he's coming out, to get the points, because then he would get his own move points, plus he'd also get the penalty points. Came down kind of hard, and Mark had to take some injury time there.
Was that strategic on Vieira's part?
To in what way?
To slam him.
Well, if it was strategy to slam him, we've got to. That's illegal, but it was not called an illegal move at that point.
Right.
It came down hard. That's about all it was, and kind of stunned Mark when he came down on the mat.
Okay, because I sense him trying to rough up Blackborough.
Well, South River's they're a physical team. They're not going to back off anybody.
Right.
I watched their match against Colonia the other night. They're tough. They come out hard. And, a lot of times you will, as you say, strategically, soften a team up by hitting them a little bit on that. It is 5-2. No, it should only be 4-2, I believe, unless they did give him a point for the penalty.
That's what I'm thinking.
Then I missed that. Because the scoreboard has a 5-2 score, so they may have given him the slam. I'm sorry, I missed that one.
And the point for the escape.
For the clasp. He got a point for the clasp, plus the point for the illegal hold, illegal move.
We shall see. It is 5-2 with 1:17 left to go in the second period of this 112-pound match. We are here at East Brunswick High School. There's another slam. I don't want to use that word derogative sense, but he's coming down hard.
A forceful move.
Yeah.
A forceful move. And peeling that half off. It's interesting how many kids will shoot halves from their knees. When I was coaching, when I was wrestling, coaches always said, you never.
Okay, whistle, 1 point.
They've got an illegal hold there. I didn't see what it was.
So another point for Blackborough, makes it 6-2.
And Glenn Pazinko at the table questioning something. I'm not sure what he's looking for.
It's worth 2 points, making it 7-2.
Glenn may be correct, because you had a violation for the locking hands, you had a violation on the slam, and then the third penalty would be 2 points. So he's right.
And they get that point.
So it's, as you said, 7-2 now. Ryan Vieira trailing Mark Blackborough. Mark doing some of the damage himself, but Ryan Vieira costing himself a couple of times there. No exchange there. Mark was almost out.
little sloppy there, and now he's exposing his back. That's always a little bit dangerous, but he came over very quickly and recovered, getting back to his belly. Jim, I was starting to say before, when I was coaching and when I was wrestling, you were told never to shoot a half Nelson from your knees, and yet today the sport has changed and much more aggressive, so you can be on your knees, you can put that half in and start working it.
And to be honest, Blackborough is doing a good job here of just staying away. Now we got a stalemate. And they will move to the middle with 11 seconds left to go in the period.
Mark's being pretty aggressive himself, coming out from underneath, and Ryan Vieira returning a little bit slowly to the center.
I think he's a little frustrated, too. He is certainly the aggressor in this match.
Well, he's a freshman, which is a nice sign for South River. It's good. Now, he's exposed the back of Mark there, but he recovered quickly enough. Mark slowed down there. He let himself get tipped a little bit.
And you really have to watch it in the sport. So after 2 periods of play, 1 2-minute period left, surprisingly, Mark Blackborough with a 7-2 lead over Ryan Vieira.
Mark trying to get his first varsity win. That second period was all Mark as far as scoring and all Vieira as far as making mistakes. And with a nice roll through, Mark Blackborough puts Vieira on his back. He's got some back points. There was a count. And there's 2 for the near fall.
2 and 2.
Nice recovery, nice follow through by Mark Blackborough.
It is 9-2 now with 1:38.
Vieira coming out, gets a headlock. And Blackborough comes in a double.
Good move by Blackborough.
Very nice balance in there.
And this is trouble for South River. They were not expecting this.
Well, neither team has, there are a few here and there, but neither team has super outstanding lightweight. So it really is going to be a little bit of a dogfight, I think, down here. Nobody has shown themselves to be an outstanding wrestler. And either team has outstanding wrestlers in the lower weights, with, of course, the exception of a Tommy Noto at now probably 119 tonight.
And that makes these matches even more important.
That's very critical.
They're up for everybody.
Had a warning against Vieira for stalling. That's not going to do anything right now, but of course he's going to have to be aggressive then the last few minutes. Right now it's a 7-point lead for Mark Blackborough, and you talk about fighting it out at the bottom here. A 7-point lead does not give anything. Now there's a signal. There's a signal by Bill Laney, who's acting as the assistant referee.
They disqualified him.
A DQ. That there was an illegal hold around the head. That's very unusual. I have not seen a disqualification very often at this level. I didn't catch the time on that, but here in the 3rd period, on the 4th penalty against Ryan Vieira, Mark Blackborough wins the bout. That's 6 points and a 12-0 lead for the Bears.
That's a big 6 points.
It's very big. I mean, I'm sure they weren't expecting a fall there. And I was just about to talk about the idea that maybe he could get a
what do we got here now?
Major. We have Nick Yanazzo coming up here against Tommy Noto.
All right.
Tommy Noto, the defending state champion at 112. He's the defending county champion at 112. And on Wednesday night against Colonia, he got his 100th career win. A very nice mark for him and a highlight in his career.
Obviously, Noto's looking at nothing but pin here.
Tommy comes in with a tremendous record. He was 16-0 before the match of the night, 17-0 plus his matches in the county. So probably, I guess it's 21-0 right now.
Do you see any competition for him this year?
I'll tell you, I haven't followed the other parts of the state that much, but you get right down to it. Tommy is just an outstanding wrestler, and he has a lot of fun wrestling. I think that's one key point to keep in mind. He enjoys what he does out there. Giving Nick the escape there, and with a 5-1 lead. He just goes into every match with a tremendous amount of confidence, enjoying what he does out there. But I don't see an awful lot. I mean, maybe in South Jersey we don't hear a lot about them up here, but he just has so much going for him.
And he's a hard worker, too.
Absolutely. And as somebody else commented, I was saying the same thing. He has really carried the banner for Middlesex County and Central Jersey wrestling on the state level. I mean, last year just a super job, winning the state title, getting the takedown right there against Nick.
By the way, the score is 7-1 with 30 seconds left to go in the 1st period.
Nick, who is a sophomore, has a 500 record this year. And again, he'll be followed in the lineup by his brother, Chris.
Got him on his back, almost. Nope. Well, he's going to do it again. Now he's got him.
That's a tough one. You got to watch the neck, but it's still legal.
10 seconds left.
No call on that. Did not get him past 90 degrees. Bill Lanai signaling he was still perpendicular to the mat. That'll wrap it up.
Okay, after the first period, it is 7-1 in favor of Noto over Nick Iannazzo.
Now, Jim, I still have to go back to that last bout with Mark Blackburn and Ryan
Sure.
Vieira, how strange that is. In this case, we've got a neutral position called by Tommy Noto. How strange it was to have a disqualification. And on a hold, I guess he locked up hands on the head.
He
as
did
Tommy
it a
gets
couple
quick-
times.
He did a couple times, and there was a very quick signal by Bill Lanai. And that was the fourth penalty. And actually, that might have been missed if it hadn't been for Gwen Pazinko coming over and questioning that second, the third penalty to get the 2 points.
Right.
Because the referees might not have been thinking that. It's easy to lose track of that. Tommy turning Nick Iannazzo up in the
He's got a pin
cradle.
there.
And
Okay.
at 2:31 in the second period, Tommy Noto by a fall over Nick Iannazzo.
All right, halves the score to 12-6 now. And the collective South River fans breathed a little sigh of relief there.
It brings up the other half of the Iannazzo duo in the lineup. This time it's Chris, brother Chris, a junior.
With a 13-5 record, by the way.
And this is the other half of the Vieira duo, brother Rich
Okay.
Vieira coming in, also a junior.
Richie finished 5th in the county.
Chris comes in with a 13-5 record on the season.
Should be a good match.
Absolutely, and actually this is a rematch of the 5th and 6th place finish in the county tournament. So we'll see what happens here in the counties. In the 5th, 6th place constellation, Rich Vieira of South River won 5-2. So we'll see what kind of revenge and what kind of motivation these two guys have. Well, upper body moves here. Vieira with that double underhook, a Russian, or a variation on it. And nobody wants to give away on this one. You do not normally see lighter weights with that kind of upper body fighting out there in the first period. They feel each other out in the neutral position.
Okay, we have no score here in this first period of the 125-pound match between Chris Iannazzo and John Noto.
Rich Vieira.
Sorry, Rich Vieira. I apologize.
Yeah. Well, I thought they were going to get away from the tie-ups because they were kind of moving around looser there, but they've gone into a more traditional tie-up now as they work towards a circle.
What do we got?
They go out and they're still neutral.
Okay,
Nothing there.
41 seconds left to go, period 1.
You're talking about how critical it was to get these lower bouts for one team or the other to try to get some dominance, and I think right here you've got what amounts to really a toss-up match, and this could be a big match for the Bears if they can get on the upper hand. On the other hand, if the Rams can come back and even it up, or we could come close, it takes a lot of the wind out because obviously Chris is one of the better wrestlers for the Bears, and you may have noticed him. We have a stalling warning against Vieira. Chris was dragging his feet as they went out of bounds. And the thing is, if he could have brought him down with his toes in bounds, he would have had the takedown, even though he might not have been in total control as they went outside. And they're back to those power tie-ups now.
Under 10 seconds now. Okay, that is the end of the first period in this match, this 125-pound match.
The choice was Vieira's. He defers. And Chris Iannazzo chooses defense, the bottom position.
This match is, excuse me, up for grabs.
The only indication of anything in that first period was a stalling warning that Bob Millay called against Vieira of South River.
Lifts him up off the mat. Tries to turn him. Not quite.
He's got the Turk with his left leg, does Vieira. But no points earned there.
Iannazo on his knees.
He's got that ankle, which he's going to have to do something with.
Well, let's go.
And Chris has a single and trying to work it in.
Lifts him up.
Switches to the double.
Uses his upper body strength and gets the escape. So it is 1-0 in favor of Iannazo.
You know, I haven't seen either of these guys wrestle that much, but I'm fascinated by how much, I keep coming back, how much those upper body moves they're trying to pull right now. Chris tries to drop in for a high crotch. And the duck under there.
Under a minute of this second period. Iannazo with a 1-0 lead.
Nice toss there. Nice recovery by Vieira.
And gets the 2 points to take a 2-1 lead.
Chris was about, that far, that little move away from finishing that off, and very frustrated and angry with himself for not getting that.
So Vieira takes a 2-1 lead. And finds himself in a position of having to escape once more. Up.
Comes up. Can't quite turn quick enough to get his legs out, and Vieira responds very quickly. Before the counties, Vieira came in with a 12-3 record, just checking some of the older records we have before the counties. 19 seconds left. Chris has to kick that leg out, see if he can break away, at least for the one. Vieira has that leg pretty tight at the knee. Got to watch it, potentially dangerous, and that's exactly what Bob Millay calls.
Iannazo favoring that leg a little bit now. Grabs it again. 7 seconds. Keeps him on the mat, and that's going to do it. So Vieira does a nice job of holding on and maintains a 2-1 lead after 2 periods of play.
Exchange of a couple of points there, and Vieira taking the bottom position, which is, from my perspective, always the place you want to be if you want to get some points, because it's easier to score coming out 1 or 2 as opposed to turning a guy over.
Right. So obviously, Iannazo has to make some sort of move here to score points.
Chris working in the 2-on-1 and trying to get that bar across the back. And at this point, we'll be looking to for a tilt. Trying to drive that shoulder down.
Bob, at some juncture here, Iannazo's going to have to make a decision. I think he did, to just relinquish that and face him on his feet. It's 3-1 right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much Chris wanted to, but Vieira had a nice move to shrug him off the top. And at this point, though, Chris may feel better on his feet anyway if he can drop in. He had a couple of shots in the second period where he came real close, but couldn't quite finish it off.
This is a struggle. It's 3-1 in favor of Rich Vieira.
Pretty much the closest match we've had. The 3 bouts prior to this were dominated by one of the other wrestlers. So you've got a situation here where, as we said earlier, pretty much nip and tuck and up for grabs.
1 minute and 5 seconds left in the third period. There goes Iannazo.
Can't stay down there too long. The clock is ticking, and it's not on Chris's side right now. So he's either going to have to get out of that and to start over again, or try to finish that off. They tried to shrug him and grab the leg. Good recovery there on a shot by Vieira. 40 seconds remaining in the match in regulation. Vieira trying for that head and arm and backing off as Chris pulled away a little bit. 30 seconds now. Chris has got to get the 2, otherwise this match is over. He's had the escape, and those are the only points he's earned here. Down by 2. They're still neutral as Chris held onto the leg as they went out of bounds. Quick call by Bob Millay.
10 seconds.
And it looks like Chris is just going to go for it all right in one fell swoop. He can't quite do it. Vieira defending very well as they go out of bounds with just 2 seconds remaining. And Rich Vieira of South River leading 3-1. And that is what the final score will be.
And that edges South River closer, 12-9 in the total match, as Rich Vieira wins 3-1 over Chris Ianazzo.
Well, again, that 5th and 6th place finish in the counties showed 2 very close competitors, and it repeated itself tonight with a 3-1 victory by Rich Vieira, and Vieira winning both of those bouts coming out tonight.
All right, let's see who we have at 1:30 here. For East Brunswick, Mark Meyer.
Mark Meyer was a senior.
Right, coming in with a 6-10 record
And
versus, is this
be
Greg Mongelli?
Greg Mongelli.
Okay, who is a freshman.
Well, the Rams do have a number of young wrestlers out there, and Mongelli being one of them. One of what looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 freshmen in the lineup.
Senior versus freshman. Should be interesting.
Well, I'm sure from Glenn Pazinko's standpoint, he hopes it should be over quickly, or at least you know, the emphasis there and the point made of who's got the upper hand. Because right now, the Bears need to get a couple of wins in there because these are still in that area where neither team has absolute dominance. So you're still establishing yourself, and if the Bears can pick up a few, it'll help out.
Mongelli took it in the nose after the first. Yeah, they're going to have a little bit of an injury time out.
Okay, no,
here.
this is blood time now, so we have a
Right,
difference.
blood time.
Just to
Yeah.
remind you, everybody.
Yes.
Always try to educate when we come on the air here a little bit. Difference between blood time and injury time. If there is an injury, non-blood involved, it's a 1.5 minutes. That's a change this year in the rules. 1.5 minutes injury time. Blood is 5 minutes, and those are situations are cumulative through the match. So he has a total of 5 minutes to stop the bleeding. Now, the number of times you can stop a match for blood is at the referee's discretion. But in injury time, that's only 2 timeouts, and then you lose the match if you had to take a third. And that was simply to stop kids from taking a break when they needed to take a breath.
And you see them also cleaning up the mat.
The trainer for South River has some ties here in East Brunswick. She also, I hate to say this again, was one of my students. Barbara Bernstein is now the trainer for the South River Rams and does a nice job for them. Very involved, and I always get a big high when I show up in South River from Barbara.
All right. Mongelli.
You know, I'm looking at
some cotton in his
I'm
nose.
looking at his face. I'm not sure that's Greg Mongelli.
Okay.
That may be John Noto.
Let's see if we can get clarification.
Yeah, it's John Noto.
Okay.
Okay, I thought so. I'm looking at his face. I said that's Tommy Noto's twin.
And we're very thankful that we have you here because, quite frankly, you know, some of the strategy is to put wrestlers on the mat at the last moment for the best matchup.
Well,
and we don't always know, and they don't always tell us.
John is a 119-pounder, so he's moving up a little bit. He's
To 130? Oh, yeah.
yeah. And you said thankful having me here. Thanks for having Tommy and John Noto's mom next to us here in the stand, so she confirmed that was John. He had some blood situations the other night against Colonia where he had to stop several times, and he had both nostrils plugged. Takedown by Mark.
For a 2-0 lead.
And the blood continues. This is a problem, obviously.
Yep. So the blood time continues.
Right. They just pick it up where it left off, but it is a 5-minute total, and they go out to clean the mat as well. Blood is a major concern for any number of reasons, hepatitis and other
communicable
diseases that are blood-borne. Tommy had John Noto had a very exciting match the other night against Colonia. Again, with both nostrils plugged, and he came back at the end to win that bout. I got to find it here for a second. To win that match over Anthony Spaldazino of Colonia 5-3. Did a real good job doing that.
All right, let's see. That was a quick stoppage, so we'll continue with 1:24 left in the first period. Meyer holding the upper hand 2-0. We're in the 130-pound match. East Brunswick holding on to a 12-9 lead in the team standings.
They're working close to the side. But with one wrestler inbounds, they continue wrestling. Mark trying to put that bar across. And it looks like some of the, I thought Bill Lana had reached in there to try to get something, possibly one of those cotton pads out.
Yeah, he turned
Mark
him
got
over.
turned.
That's back points. They're counting.
It looks like he counted at least twice.
2, 3.
Mark's got to keep that hand around the waist, locked up, and the control there. This is tough to pin somebody with. He's got to, if he can't rock him back to his back, he may have to sit through as he's doing right now.
He's relying on his
And
strength.
he's got to lean into it a little bit.
25 seconds left to go in the period.
At some point, he's got to let it go, and he does.
Probably.
To rework it,
Yeah.
to refix it.
And Noto really did not do anything at that point to get out. So we have 12 seconds left to go. 3 points awarded to Meyer.
Yeah, the nature of that move, though, Jim, is you're not going to get that pin unless you really catch him
Right.
and can crank him down real hard right away, because
I thought that
eventually
Noto might take advantage of that switch and move to try to get out of it, but he just seemed to stay where he was.
Well, I think at that point he knew where he was on the sidelines. I think that's
Okay.
wrestlers have to know where they are on the mat. If you know you have that side on that
Stay right
the
there.
12th man, so to speak,
Yeah.
that extra help,
All
make
right.
use of it.
5 seconds. He's got him back, so we're going to end this period with the score of 5-0 in favor of Meyer, Mark Meyer.
And the choice in this period is going to go to Meyer, who defers to John Noto, who takes defense. You know, we talk about numbers, you talk about competitiveness, and here's a 119-pounder moving up to 130 for the South River Rams, and it says a couple things. One, you've got a situation where you don't have a lot of bodies out there, and you've got to put those bodies on the mat in whatever way you can to be competitive. South River being such a small school, you may have to do this occasionally. And two, the competitiveness of a kid like Johnny Noto, willing to make that move to fill the ranks. Mark having good control
Right.
with that 2-on-1 right now,
And John is also.
but getting a warning for stalling too.
And so 29 seconds have elapsed in the second period.
Mark's got to move up here, which he's starting to do. He got called for the stall by not moving up. He was hanging back a little bit on the waist.
Oh, had him there.
But he's got to bring him inside. Shoulders are out.
Yep.
He's in, and that's going to be it right there to go out of bounds. 5-0 lead for Mark Meyer of East Brunswick. A senior who was one of several seniors honored this evening with their parents.
Noto tries to turn it over.
So where we at first thought this was a freshman senior competition, this is a senior competition now.
However, a little bit of difference in weight.
Yeah. Meyer has locked up the cradle. He's rocked him back for a couple at least.
Now he's counting them.
Restarting the count. He's only got the 2. He's got to restart again. So he's popped him up. He hasn't gotten the 5 count for 3 points as far as I could see. Bill Lani still indicating the 2. 30 seconds remaining in the second period.
I think he got a 5 count there, Bob.
He might have. I can't see his fingers, but pretty close. And he's locked in there. Yeah, you say he's locked in pretty good, but John fighting it. He did get the 3 near fall, and then a reversal.
So it's 8-2-2.
I always tell
Meyer using his strength, however, to get 2 more.
Very strong move there. I always tell kids, when you get a guy over, never let him up because they're going to come up pretty angry.
10-2 is the score with 7 seconds left to go in the second period.
Mark just forcing his way over there, and they're either going to call for an injury or blood. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just...
They pick up a ball of cotton.
Yeah, that's just a cleanup. That was an official's time. No time against Noto on the blood. It is 10-2.
Yes.
Mark Meyer in the lead as the second period comes to a close.
All right, a rather commanding lead. However, from what I can see in this match, Noto can just turn them. You know, this match could end very quickly.
Well, Johnny Noto is not going to give up too easily. I mean, with a brother like Tommy, certainly they must wrestle in the living room, in the bedroom, in the kitchen, and every place else in that house and get a good workout. So there's no doubt that they're tough competitors, and Mark has to make sure he's continuing to work As he comes up, John with the single, trying to kick the leg out, and they step out. Just enough to get called.
You see the difference in size right there as the two wrestlers walk in.
Yeah, definitely. Quick stand up, but Noto able to hang on to that leg. Mark's got to kick that out. He gets the one.
To make it 11-2. And now it'll be a matter of just staying out of trouble.
Well, now Meyer has been warned, so yes, he's got to stay out of trouble, and that would include making sure you don't get called for stalling at this point, because just because you have that 9-point lead doesn't mean you can't get hit for not doing much else, and that would be unfortunate. Right now he's a 9-point lead, which means he has, make that an 11-point lead.
13-2.
He has at least a 4-point decision for the team.
Which is a valuable point.
Absolutely, because it could come down to that. You know, South River lost the match the other night to Colonia, 36-32, and it was a match here and a match there. Those points start to make a big difference.
Almost had him on his back that
Looking
time.
for the Peterson, but not quite getting it. He's probably going to have one as they go out of bounds, and he does.
With exactly a minute left to go in this match. And they're going to give the escape to John.
10-point lead for Mark Meyer with, as you said, 1 minute to go here in the third period.
Oh,
Came
nice
in a little
move.
bit high.
Nice move by Meyer.
And Meyer dropping in on the leg. He's got to move up. Just lift those legs if he can. And move. Just go to the head right there. Go to the head.
Gets his 2. 15-3.
Well, you talk about strategy. This may be a situation where if he can't turn them for 3 with 33 seconds to go, do you let him go for 1, get the 2, and try for the tech fall that way?
Just refresh our audience, Bob, on what a technical fall is.
A 15-point margin stops the match, and you get the 5 points for a tech fall as opposed to the regular decision. So you've got 3 for a decision less than 8-point margin, 4 points for an 8 margin or more, up until 15 where the match is stopped, and you get 5 for the tech fall. And that, too, would be a very big change in scoring here for the Bears. But right now, Mark Meyer, with just 27 seconds to go in the third period, has a pretty commanding 12-point lead, 15-3.
If he can put him on his back,
yeah.
If he can put him on his back, he's got his 3. But we're down to the 15-second mark.
Yeah,
so
and that's where the team concept. I mean, Mark is working hard, so I'm not criticizing him. But that's where the team concept comes in this very individual sport.
Right.
To get those extra points, to turn that kid one more time to make the difference. Good work by Mark Meyer in defeating John Noto, 15-3.
Making it, with the 4-point differential, 4 points that he gets, makes the score 16-9.
16-9 it is, and that would bring up for the Bears, it should be Sam Mull coming in, a sophomore. And we'll see who goes out. We'll see who comes out for the Rams. So far, no one.
And who might that be?
This is
Mirasol?
Ryan. I didn't get Ryan's last name.
That's quite all right. We will find out.
Well, it's Ryan. And if any of the South River folks come across the Old Bridge Turnpike to watch this match on TV at their neighbors across the street in East Brunswick, we apologize. We didn't catch his last name, though. Sam Mull in on the takedown, trying to get in there.
And there's the first point.
Quick
2 points,
called.
I'm sorry.
That is Ryan Pfaff.
Okay.
We got that, okay.
Spelled P-F-A-F-F.
Well, we had 2 sources coming in at the same time there, so we did
correct.
okay.
Pfaff with a 2-0 lead over Mull.
And we don't have a record or a grade for Ryan, but
Sam came in, by the way, with a 5-12 record.
so maybe more so than the last bout, this could be very important. You've got 2 wrestlers, you almost might say unranked in both cases, and it's just going to matter of who's going to tough this one out. Pfaff trying to walk that cradle up on the near side. And Mull fighting that off at the 1 minute mark of the first period. Comes up, tries to get some hand control. Pfaff doing a pretty good job controlling it. Quick sit there by Mull. Turns it, gets the leg.
Can he hold on to it?
He's got to fix that up a little bit. Go for an inside trip perhaps, or lock it and turn the corner there. And that's 2 right there as he goes behind him.
Gives him the 2. Got him down again.
And is able to cover as they go out of bounds. If I can take a quick moment to do a commercial for refereeing here.
Please do.
Bill Laney, who was one of our officials out on the mat tonight, he's the assistant referee on this bout. So, you know, the Central Jersey chapter is always, or actually New Jersey wrestling officials are always looking for officials, people who are interested and want to do something for the sport. If you are interested in officiating, you can contact the membership chairman of the New Jersey Wrestling Officials Association, Bob Whitaker.
Do you have a telephone
And
number
I have
for
a
him?
telephone number, 973 is the area code, 882-0607. Or if you know somebody who is interested in being an official, and it is a wonderful opportunity to stay involved with the sport. There is some monetary reward, but we've got a almost points there by Sam Mull. Nothing was scored, so that's the end of the first period. But great way to stay in the sport if you really like it and to be a part of it. So again, Bob Whitaker is the membership chairman of the Wrestling Officials Association of the state, and his number is 973-882-0607.
No experience required.
No experience required, but an interest to do the right thing for the sport and be involved in it. Ryan Pfaff on top here in the second period. On top physically, but even up in the score, 2-2 with Sam Mull of East Brunswick. Working for that near side cradle, slowly locking it up, but Mull able to break it, break the grip. Mull comes, Pfaff comes up a little bit high there, comes out front.
Still working.
Trying to crank down on that arm as the half goes in there, puts it in from the other side. A little push me, pull you type of match. Nothing's happening out there. They're going back and forth, just counting each other's maneuvers. Pfaff certainly being very aggressive though on top. Hard crossface there.
Less than a minute to go in the second period. We're tied 2-2.
And you've got the 2 referees talking to each other, which might mean that somebody's looking at the possibility of a stall, and Mull able to get the escape as they go out of bounds.
Which makes it 3-2 in his favor. All right.
That discussion may have been also, you know, we're losing control here. Be ready for the out of bounds. No control there on the mat.
Mull has him.
And there's the takedown.
And it's 5-2 now. That could be a crucial takedown. In the scheme of things, escape makes it 5-3.
They're just countering each other back and forth.
.28 seconds left to go in the second period.
Ryan Pfaff being the aggressor there, and as a result, Sam Mull does get warned for stalling. So they might have been talking, as I said before, the 2 officials on the mat, considering the fact that maybe not an awful lot was going on down there with Sam Mull.
He's pushing him out. Keeps on pushing him out.
Yeah, and
got to give some resistance, Bob.
Yeah, in that situation too, you've got to be careful because as the wrestler for South River, because yeah, you're backing the other guy up, but if you're just simply pushing him out without doing anything with it, you can be called for stalling as well.
Down to 7 seconds. And there's the other caution, so Mull is charged a point, so it's 5-4.
Sam has got to be more aggressive. It is now you know, losing that point on the stalling, and a caution on top of that against Sam Mull for not having his foot on the line for the starting of the period.
And so that could be a very interesting point. It makes it 5-4 with 2 minutes left.
Well, it also sets a little bit of tone because at this point, Pfaff has established himself as the aggressor. And being on the bottom, he has a chance to come out for 1 or 2. and put him on his feet, if that's the case, where while granted Mull has gotten a takedown, he's been called for stalling. So from a strategic standpoint, Pfaff is in good shape right now, and he has just tied up the match.
To make it 5-5.
The officials step in. They get a little chat as they go to the center there. A little bit, I won't say extracurricular as they went about, but a little bit aggressive. Sam Mull gets in on that single.
Couldn't hold it, however. Crowd starts to vocalize as we get down to the nitty-gritty here of this 135-pound match. East Brunswick holding a 16-9 team lead.
1:35 to go here in the third period. A tie match at 135 pounds between Sam Mull of East Brunswick and South River's Ryan Pfaff. Pfaff trying to give him resistance. He is being pushed out a little bit there, so he's not backing up as much because he's trying to lift that arm for a duck, it looks like, a duck under. Takes a step back before he gives a
tries to turn.
He's got to face him. Pfaff coming around.
Where are we at, Bob?
He's got some trouble right now. He's got the leg, so he's not in bad shape. He looked like he was in worse shape than he was.
Mull turns him, however.
Comes down pretty hard, but he gets the takedown.
With 57 seconds left.
And at this point, that was a nice move by Mull because I thought that Pfaff had a good control there and the potential for coming around for the takedown.
You get a sense that this is a very, very important match.
And he's got back points too on the tilt. He's got to come up with it. He's got to come up above. He can't hang there, and he gives up the reversal though. So we have a match that's going back and forth, and it's going to come down to the last few seconds probably.
Score is 9-7 with 30 seconds left.
And Pfaff again trying to get that locked up cradle. That's what he's been working on pretty much the whole match whenever he's had control on top. Again, remember that Sam Mull has been warned for stalling, so he's going to have to move. He can't stay down there and get himself in trouble either way, either by stalling or by getting
Officials
turned.
talk about it. So we have 16 seconds left. Strategy time here. What do you do?
Get out. He's going to give him the optional start. He's going to either give him one or see if he can just push him down on the start. He doesn't try to give him the one. He just tries to get the maneuver, and he goes to a head and arm there. See if he can crank him over in the last few seconds. If Sam can pop it, he can get the last two and hold on to it, or at least drive in on him. 2 seconds, 1 second, and that's going to be it.
So Sam Mull with a 9-7 win over Ryan Pfaff, and could be a very important win because it adds 3 points to the ledger, making it 19-9.
Well, I think that was an important win because, again, these are matches where you don't have any outstanding wrestlers who are, you say this guy's going to win, this guy's going to win. These are all toss-ups, and I think one of the biggest problems any team has is winning those toss-up bouts. You've got to be able to have some control in there. You've got to be able to make a difference in the match with some of those unexpected wins.
So what do you have here?
140 pounds, Dave Konigsberg for the Bears and Pedro Mikasal, I hope I pronounced that right, for South River.
Okay. Konigsberg coming in with a 3-7 record. Gets the 2 points immediately.
Well, the Bears are a little more aggressive here. He is called for stalling. I was about to say they're getting aggressive. He got called for stalling. He sat on the leg.
Okay.
When you have a man broken down and that knee you bring up his heel to his butt. You can't sit on that. 5 seconds or so, and that's it. And you're going to get called for stalling. You've got to move outside, go to the half, go to something, but you can't sit on that leg tied up underneath you. But I was saying the Bears are looking more aggressive. They've come out. They've been trying to get those points. They've been trying to get the takedown.
This is the 145-pound match.
Dave had that bar in there, but just came up too high and allowed Pedro Mikasol to get the reversal.
Is that Mirasol?
Mirasol. Is it Mirasol?
Mirasol. M-I-R-A-S-O-L.
Okay. With an R. Okay.
trying to read this writing.
And an escape for
Hand it to
Dave Konigsberg.
Gives him the lead again, 3-2.
He's got to come up around the waist. Pop behind. There we go.
Gets 2, makes it 5-2. He looks fairly aggressive.
Yep. This could be another one of those back and forth ones, though, because you know, they're exchanging blows back and forth. So we'll see what happens. These are the matches that, well, as a coach, you. That's how you earn your pay. You don't earn your pay because you're wrestling, but you do get more gray hairs from these matches. So you spend your pay in trying to get that Grecian formula.
I think the official said it's 4-1, which doesn't change the differential at all. Which. All right, they're going to talk about it now.
That's got to be wrong.
It should be. It should be.
I'm sure it's 5-2, but then.
Yeah.
4-1. So they did not give the reversal rather to Mirasol. They gave him an escape.
Right. Okay.
And then there was no escape, obviously, for Dave Konigsberg. I guess it was just rolling around in there. I'm surprised. As you said, the differential doesn't make it. It's not any different, but the counts there. And if you're counting takedowns and escapes or reversals in your statistics, that does make a difference. And there's a maintaining control by Dave Konigsberg.
10 seconds.
And looks like the first period will come to a close with that score as it is. 4-1.
All right.
In favor of the Bears, Dave Konigsberg.
You know, the farther we go on here with East Brunswick coming out with these wins again, matches that we're not quite sure of, it's got to be looking better for the Bears, but we got a long way to go.
A long way to go. You've got, you've got a forfeit coming up, which the Bears are going to pick up 6 points there, as a caution is called against Dave Konigsberg, which is nice. You've got.
Tell me about this forfeit. Why is that happening?
Well,
with
at
South
152
River?
pounds, it looks as if South River does not have anybody to wrestle, and Matt Kolbeck is going to pick up 6 points.
Wow.
For the forfeit, and that's tough. Now,
yeah, to have a match of this caliber between these two rivals with a forfeit is just really a tough situation.
Well, you know, when you're, I give credit to Ed Chickey, the head coach over at South River, for getting these kids out there because it is tough. It's a smaller school,
right?
So you don't have the opportunity to get a full lineup sometimes, and to fill all those spots. And as Dave Konigsberg works that bar across. Power move, but couldn't quite crank him over. Now he's going to try the tilt to the inside, and he stops it for potentially dangerous.
With 1:21 left to go in the second period. Konigsberg holds on to a 4-1 margin.
We'll have to see what happens, too, at 170 pounds, because it looks like Ed Chickey has moved his powerhouse, Ricky Santos, up to 171, but it looks as if Glenn Pazinko, to counter that, has Tommy Corio and Jimmy Gagnon both weighed in at 71, with the possibility of even Corio moving to 89 to avoid that confrontation. So we'll see how that plays out with the strategy there. We'll have to see who has to send their man out first there, because, again, that's the odd-even choices. That also determines which wrestler has to hit the mat first. Dave Konigsberg holding on to a 4-1 lead, and also to control as they go out of bounds with 52 seconds here in the second period.
Puts him on the mat.
Well, Dave's got to move up a little bit. He has been warned for stalling. He's trying to pull that arm through and reach up. Now he just decides to come off of that and go up top. As he did that, he kind of let the weight of himself come off his hip, and it allowed Mirasol to come up a little bit and give him a little throw. 20 seconds in this second period of the 140-pound match. And that's going to be a warning. That's going to be a stall call against Konigsberg. That should be a point, if I caught it right the first time. And they're going to confer it. And there is a point.
You're right on it, Bob.
Well, it's easy for me to do that. I got everything in front of me here. when you're out there in the middle of an exciting match or a match where you're really focusing hard, you could easily forget that.
Right. 4-2 is the score with 10 seconds left in the second period.
So you've got a situation here where Dave Konigsberg is going to have to make take some action and make a difference. He chooses the bottom in the third period with a 4-2 lead now, and he's going to have to move. If he gets tied up and doesn't do very much, he can start getting hit for points as well. Dave comes up, quick escape.
Making it 5-2.
And Dave was able to get 2 takedowns in the first period. He quickly gets in on Pedro Mirasol here in the third. He pulls his arm out and he gets the takedown again. So that was a good move here. Now he's been called for stalling while in control on top. You start to wonder, since he's already gotten 3 takedowns, maybe at some point you cut him, let him loose, and go for the takedown again. And that way you're not getting called for stalling. You don't risk the possibility of
good
giving
strategy
another point.
there. Good thought. By the way, the score is 7-2 now.
He's got that bar in, Dave Koenig, and he's trying to stack them. And he's got his hips up, but he's not able to really crank him over all the way. So at some point, you got to make a decision. And I thought I heard over from the sideline from Glenn Pazinko and the rest of the coaching staff, let him go. So they're saying, go ahead, give him the 1 and get the takedown again. 52 seconds remaining, and he's not hearing it. There he goes.
7-3.
And Konigsberg, no control there. He did not have him on the mat when he got behind him. And there's the 2. So the strategies at this point probably should be let him go, and take the takedown. He's got a 6-point lead right now. If he can convert that one more time, he could, get closer to that major decision.
It's 20 seconds left to go.
Oh, my goodness.
22 seconds.
They called a stalemate just before Dave was able to crank him over.
And that would have given him, let's see, that would have made it 12-3.
Well, if he can get, he needs 2 takedowns now.
Right.
And that would be what he has to do. So he's got to give a quick one, shoot in for the takedown. And I don't think he's going with that strategy.
Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Maybe he doesn't have a presence of what he needs to do, Bob.
Well, he heard the call from the coaching staff before, and maybe they said, now, maybe they told him not to do it. That's the other side. I don't want to second guess the coaches, but the first time they definitely said, get him go for 2, get the 1. And it's going to be a win at 140 pounds for the Bears.
Is that 140 or 145?
That was 140.
Okay.
A 9-3 victory for Dave Konigsberg.
Making the score 22-9 in the team standings. East Brunswick again starting to put distance between itself and South River. However, as these things go, 2 falls and we're tied.
We've got a couple of good wrestlers coming up here in the next couple of matches for the Rams. And if this is who I think it is, we've got Ben Goddard for the Bears, a senior with a 4-9 record.
And who's this for South River?
Well, I think it's Charlie Krieger.
Okay. We'll get that verified.
At 145, but or it could be Everett Barnhart. I'm not sure. They have 2 good kids at 145 pounds who have wrestled there.
All right, we have a bit of a timeout here. Looks like blood time.
This is Charlie Krieger, who has the blood time right now.
All right, he is a freshman. And Goddard is a senior, so another senior freshman.
Yeah, Krieger came in with an 11-2 record. Had an 11-2 record at one point. He's one of the better wrestlers in the area. Did not place, did not wrestle at this weight in the counties. It was Everett Barnhart, who was another one of the another good wrestler for the Bears rather the Rams at this weight, who was in the counties.
Where is Everett tonight?
Good question. I didn't take attendance on the bus, so I'm not sure.
Where is the forfeit going to occur, would you imagine?
Forfeit's going to come up in the next match at 152, unless they decide to move Barnhart up.
this is what
That's
I'm saying.
the only possibility.
You know,
I don't, and they may have that in mind. Now, we were talking to the managers earlier, and they said we have a 152-pound forfeit. Now, unless Barnhart
may not be here,
or has already used up all of his matches, he may. I mean, he may have been wrestling in all these tournaments and matches for the Rams, and you do have a limit. I can't remember the exact number, but you have a limit of how many matches you can compete in before the state tournament. And it may be that Everett Barnhart has used them up, although I can't imagine that he would have used them up and Tommy Noto hasn't, because Tommy's probably wrestled in everything they've gotten.
I think also, Bob, that South River kind of points to this match against East Brunswick, and certainly if there was an opportunity to reserve one more match, they would have done that.
Well,
so we really, unfortunately, do not have the story regarding the situation, but here we are with Ben Goddard and Charlie Krieger.
As I said in the opening, Tommy Noto's dad said, you know, how do you stop a senior from South River from wrestling against East Brunswick? So it obviously is a big match for them. It's the David and Goliath, you know, the little school on the other side of the road against the big guys up on the hill. And there was blood time, and there's Charlie Krieger with 2 cotton pads in his nose. A little bit of the walrus look there.
Krieger, just a freshman with an 11. I'll tell you what, he's got an outstanding future.
Yeah, I mean, these are kids who, you know, I'm pretty sure that Charlie came through the rec program in South River, and you know, so he's got some experience, and it's nice to have that kid coming into the room as a 14 or 15-year-old, and having had a number of years behind him.
It's the move on him. Nope, almost.
No, Ben's got the arm to block.
Yeah.
Right there, and they go out of bounds.
Shows his quickness.
Gets in. Good counter by Ben.
Who's got it?
Krieger showing a lot of strength out there.
He sure is. I don't believe I'm looking at a freshman here.
He's good physique.
Just his quickness.
And very quick.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And he gets around for the takedown.
To give him a 2-0 lead.
.40 seconds to go in here in the first period. Ben looking for that Peterson, catches the leg, and is working for the arm. He's got to keep him in bounds. He's got the Peterson for the reversal. And back points. Ben trying to lock it up. He's got to turn him in bounds, though, because his shoulders are going out.
There was the 5 count. Score is tied 2-2, but he's going to get 3.
He's got to lean in. Now he can go for the head. 20 seconds to go. He's got time if he can fix it up. He's got to shift that hand control to the left hand and reach around with the right hand around the head, because at this point it's far too loose for him to get the pin unless he can just rock him back at the right point.
5 seconds.
He's going to have the back points, and probably that's going to be it for the period.
So he will take a 5-2 lead. And maybe that's where experience came in?
Yeah, nice move by Ben, though. He set that up. He reached in for the leg. He was turning. He reached for the leg as he came around, and then was able to get the arm and take it through for the Peterson.
Okay, what do we have here?
Looks like Krieger has deferred, and Goddard will have choice. They had a little blood, I guess, from Krieger's nose. They had to clean it up on the mat. Ben takes the defensive position with a 5-2 lead here in the beginning of the second period at 145 pounds.
Will try to get out of this if he can.
Looked like Ben was trying to do the same thing again, although Krieger has the cradle in there. He rocks him through. Ben counters pretty well. He gets the arm through to block it.
Almost.
He worked the arm through the body to block it, and he's again looking like he's trying to get that Peterson. He can take that inside leg, though.
Krieger has to watch himself. He's very aggressive, but he's been caught off balance more than once.
Ben did a nice job of defending that move, though. He did a good job in there. And Ben, again, looking for that Peterson. He's got him turned, and it looks like Krieger is defending, so he got the reversal.
Worth 2 so far. Here goes the count.
Ben's got to lean to the head, belly down, watch his own weight. And he came over too far. He got the near fall, but he lost it on the reversal. Ben was, he had him locked.
So we got a 10-4 score here.
And he really had to come down hard on the head at that point and kind of smother him a little bit. but a lot of poise by the freshman to come out of that. But again, if you've been wrestling as long as these kids have, it's not surprising that they're poised enough to defend that.
There's an escape for one, making it 11-4. But I'm not surprised though, Phil. Krieger has shown me a lot. He just really is been caught off balance a couple of times, and Goddard's been able to take advantage of that.
Ben's been very methodical out there. He's done a very nice job of setting a couple of things up and countering things. He's got in very deep on the leg that time. And he's got a lot of time if he wants to work with this single.
25 seconds.
But Krieger stretching out, sprawling. And they're going to call him out of bounds. Did you start to call me Phil? Did you think you were doing football with...
Did I say that?
I thought I heard Phil coming at that. I thought you were doing with Phil Hill over here.
Believe me, we've done so many sporting events together that it's unconscious.
Nice move by Ben. Again, that duck under for the takedown. He's got a 13-4 lead, so he's in a major decision position right now with a 4-point lead. But boy, look at that. Coming around, Charlie Krieger. They're going to give him the escape. Real close to the reversal there, but they give him the neutral. Ben having lost control at the buzzer. And Glenn Pazinko not happy about that call.
Making it 13-5 after 2, but I maintain that this match is still up for grabs.
Absolutely, there's no question. I mean, Charlie Krieger has not yielded an inch here. He's been, pushed around. He's been turned on his back. He's been cranked over very tight, and he's able to fight out of it. And
Here
at
we
this
go.
point, he's on the bottom. Now Ben's done a real nice job of controlling in a lot of situations and setting up his defensive maneuvers to come out from underneath. We haven't really seen him, on top in this situation. He's gotten the reversal and gone right to the guy's back. So he's got the count again. So Ben's able to pick up some points here. And he's got 3.
Making it 16-5, so he's got the superior there.
And it may be that he's, boy, but look at this.
However,
Charlie Krieger is a tough guy. He's not giving up an inch here.
gets 2, makes it 16-7.
And he's rocked Ben back a little bit.
All right, this match still very much in doubt.
I'll repeat again. I always tell kids, once you get a guy in his back, you better not let him up unless you think you can do it again, because he's not going to be happy about it. And, Ben has gotten 1, 2, 3 near falls here. Picked up a lot of points, turning the guys over.
Okay, a little bit of a caution, I think.
But has not been able to put away Charlie Krieger. Bob Millay, the referee, saying it was his fault on the false start. Or it looked like a false start. That's football. I guess it was a false start. And being aggressive on top is Charlie Krieger. Ben fighting it, cranking it down. I think he's again looking to
under a minute
to set something up. He's hooking the arm on the one side, and he's reaching around for the leg. So we're once again looking for that Peterson, and there it goes.
Well, you're right on top of that. Here we go. Gets the 5 count. 18-7 is the score, and looking good for Ben. Krieger tries to push his head away.
He's still got a 4-point decision. If he gets to 3, he's going to have a 14-point margin. So at this point, he doesn't have a tech fall.
Okay.
So he's in good shape, except unless he can pin him. And he's got 19 seconds to try to fix that up, scoop that head, and they go out. And there's a 3
to make it 21-7.
So a nice move. I mean, Ben has worked at Peterson several times now, and it's been, as I said, a very methodical thing for him, reaching in there and rolling it through. Nice job by him. If you tape this at home and you replay it, watch that. If you're a wrestler, he's done a nice job. So it's 21-8. Ben looking for the takedown. If he can make it 23-8, that would be 15, and it's not going to happen right now. It doesn't look it. 3, 2, 1 second remaining, and that's it. And he gave up the takedown at the very end, but a moot point.
So it's 21-10 is the final?
10, yes.
Okay.
21-10. That's a 4-pointer for the Bears.
26-9.
And we are moving into 152-pound weight class, and it is not going to be a forfeit, as was originally thought.
Bingo. So who do we have wrestling here?
This is Matt DeSantis for the Rams.
We want to thank Mrs. Noto for helping us here.
Now, Matt was originally penciled in at 160 pounds. He is a sophomore, and he's come down to wrestle Matt Kolbeck for the Bears.
Who comes into this match with a what record?
Well, Matt comes in at 4-10.
4-10.
But he's a sophomore.
Right.
So we have two sophomores here. And this is where you start getting into some interesting stuff. The question is, Matt DeSantis had a 9-4 record before the counties. And he did wrestle
Bob,
in the championship.
Let's give pause here and take a look at this and see where we're at now. It's 26-9. We have the 52 match, which is going on right now. 60, the 71, 89, 215 in heavyweight. What's it looking like at this point?
Well, I'm checking my records here because I forgot about this. Matt DeSantis was the runner-up in the GMC tournament. He lost an 18-9 decision to Edison's Rami Evanesh in the championship. So this is the number 2 wrestler in the county tournament that Matt Kolbeck's going up against. So I'm not quite sure why we had originally and why the managers thought we had a 152-pound forfeit there.
Oh, I think they were playing around with you.
Playing with my head, which is not hard to do. Well, you've got one of the co-captains for the Bears coming up at 160, and the question is who's going to go in there? Do you move up an Everett Barnhart? Do you keep a Ricky Santos down there at 160 and see what you can do there, or do you move Santos up against Corio and see if you just go head-to-head, go strength against strength, and neutralize what might be one of the Bears' best shots in the last 3 or 4 bouts? And Jimmy Gagnon, while he is a young wrestler, he's a tough one. Only a 6-7 record, but very game and very, very feisty out there. And
he
then
can go at 71 or 89.
Yeah, and then up top, neither the Bears nor the Rams have a lot of power.
Right.
So it's really going to be a toss-up. Although Dennis Bruno does have a 10-4 record, nothing's a lock. Nothing's ever a lock when you get into wrestling. So we were talking about how important those earlier bouts were to give the Bears this lead. Now you've got a little bit of strength for the Rams coming up here, and it's just a matter of how well it plays out.
So there is no score with 25 seconds left to go in this first period match between Matt DeSantis and Matt Kolbeck.
He almost got on the ankle, flattened out a little bit too soon there. DeSantis able to counter that. Kolbeck tosses him over. And we could end up with a stalemate here if they don't do something in the next few seconds.
Kolbeck holding onto that leg as best he can. And that'll do it for the first period.
No score at 152 pounds. Matt Kolbeck deferred. And Matt DeSantis takes the bottom. I was almost tempted to do that Matt and Matt on the mat, but I just couldn't. No, so I didn't really say that.
I didn't hear that.
Good.
Okay, we're into the second period.
DeSantis coming around on a switch and almost has it, but Kolbeck able to hang on to the leg and protect the control barely. He's recovering a little bit there, although DeSantis does have it locked up. He's got that cradle, and this is not looking good here. He's got the reversal. Kolbeck fighting it. Good strength to fight off of the back. No back points were given there. But certainly Matt Kolbeck had himself in some trouble as Matt DeSantis able to crank him over, and this is why he made the championship round of the county tournament.
It's got him now.
Wow. Hard bridge by Matt Kolbeck.
He's in excellent position.
Almost in a dangerous situation there. Fighting off a bit. He's got that arm caught on the far side, so Matt is not in good shape there.
5-0.
That arch, that bridge was very impressive by Matt Kolbeck to put himself off the mat. I mean, you said it. He had him, and it looked like he was pretty much locked up there.
What do we have here? Injury time?
Injury time, and I'm not quite sure what happened. It may have been, I'll tell you, that bridge alone might have done something. Or is it blood? No, it's blood time. I'm sorry. They are wiping off the mat, and it looks like it's on on Matt DeSantis.
Well, they're not attending to him at all.
No, I'm sorry. They did put some cotton up in Matt Kolbeck's nose.
48 seconds left to go in the second period. DeSantis with a 5-0 lead. South River really needing some points here on the team ledger. They're down 26-9.
James, did you have that a note before? We had some names of the student trainers from East Brunswick. I mean, we talk about how good a job that Phil Hosfer does as the trainer here, and he has a great crew of kids who work with him.
We only have first names, unfortunately.
Well,
that doesn't do us too much good.
Scott Kramer is one of them.
Yeah.
And Carla. And we don't have Carla's
We don't have
name.
Carla's last name, unfortunately, which is why I wasn't going to use it.
Well, you know, I didn't see that. I'm sorry. But I'll give credit where I can, I guess, because they work pretty hard.
Oh, absolutely.
They get varsity letters here at East Brunswick, and that's something that's not done in a lot of places. They are out there constantly, and they put up with a lot of nonsense from some of the athletes, too.
Including us.
Absolutely. Matt DeSantis working the tilt on Matt Kolbeck with just 3 seconds here in the second period of 1:52, and no back points were earned.
So the score remains 5-0 in favor of DeSantis as we move into the third period.
Well, Matt Kolbeck putting up a game fight here against a pretty tough wrestler in the form of DeSantis. He chose the bottom position, and he's trying to work his way out. You know, considering the competition, and we have a lot of time obviously left in this period in this match. You know, I think Glenn Pazinko might be satisfied if he loses just a regular decision here.
Well, we still have a full period to go, so anything can happen.
DeSantis working that tilt on the near side, trying to work the bar through. Works it over the back. And he's trying to lock up the arm on the other side, underneath. And Matt Kolbeck able to fight off it, work his way to his feet, and they go out of bounds.
Somewhat of a sedate crowd on East Brunswick's side.
Very quiet. I mean, I've certainly been at East Brunswick South River matches where the screaming and the yelling has been unbelievable.
Well, I think that the difficulty for South River is they're down 26-9 right now. And East Brunswick, I don't think, realizes how fortunate they are. What do we got?
Something, you know, I think they called for blood time on DeSantis, and Ed Schicky was saying, wait, my kid's not bleeding, he's fine. And was not happy about that. They sent him off to the sideline to have him checked, and Ed just kind of wiped off the blood and said, get back in there, he's fine. There was a caution on Matt DeSantis, Matt Kolbeck rather, as they go out of bounds.
Kolbeck trying to get that 1-point escape, and right away he will do well just to avoid being pinned.
Well, I think at this point, I mean, considering there was no score in the first period, they remained neutral on their feet the entire 2 minutes. If Matt Kolbeck can get to his feet and get to that neutral position and be down 5-1, he may be happy to be there. DeSantis trying to get that Corrado, and he's locked him over there. Matt Kolbeck kind of got himself caught there.
1 minute to go.
He's got the leg, but DeSantis able to dump him over with that inside crotch move. Kolbeck hanging onto the leg. He's got to move up. He's got to pull himself in. Otherwise, he could be called for stalling. He has not been overpowered. I mean, if the referee decides that you've been overpowered, you don't get called for stalling. But in this case, you know, 5-0 is not an overpowering situation, and a stalemate is called by Bill Lanai. .40 seconds remaining here in the third period at 152 pounds. And Matt Kolbeck has to keep working. He's got to keep moving forward. He can't stay still because DeSantis has shown he can lock him up on a couple of different occasions and a couple of different ways. He's got good control on that wrist underneath, and he's trying to bring him over with that what we used to call the Navy ride. Twisting Matt Kolbeck's back. He's got back points, and he's locked up that underneath.
Doesn't have enough time, however.
He's got some back points, a pair.
To make it 7-0 in the final. And
that 7 points is probably That's just enough to make Glenn Pazenko happy about the, as happy as you can be about a loss.
Right. So the team score is now 26-12. We move now to 160.
And I think it's here that we have Gail Marshall for the Bears,
who comes in with a 12-9 record.
And Ricky Santos, Ed Schicky not wanting to put strength against strength, puts Ricky Santos out for the Rams. Santos, the quarterback for the Rams, wasn't he, I think? Was he their quarterback in football?
To be honest, I would not know.
I thought he might have been.
Okay.
But Santos.
Second in the counties?
Second in the counties, a runner-up to the champion from North Brunswick, Ryan Contaldo.
So that looks like Corio is going to have a free ride here in the next match.
Well, we'll keep coming back. In South River, East Brunswick, there's no such thing as a free ride. Ed Schicky would not hear of a free ride for any East Brunswick wrestler. And I think that's the way we'd like it. So despite those opening introductions, Santos staying down at 160 pounds. Going into the counties, Ricky Santos had a 14-1 record and only had the one loss in the county, so he is certainly one of the top wrestlers in the area at 160 pounds. As I said the other night, he moved up to 171, where he did wrestle against Colonia, and he scored a pin in the second period. And here, Gail Marshall, one of the co-captains for the Bears, senior, defending well against Santos. And I'm not quite sure why that stoppage occurred, other than the fact that Ricky Santos' shoe was untied. A 14-point lead for the Bears with a few matches left to go. Here at 160 pounds. And Gail Marshall has been warned for stalling. Both referees have been calling stalling pretty quickly, Jim.
I noticed that.
Now, Bill Lanai, who was, as I said, the cadet supervisor and was my supervisor last year when I was a cadet again.
Why is that?
Well, I gave it up for a while, and I had to come back and do my 1 year of penance. But Bill said, you got to go after him. You got to get him to wrestle. And if you make the point early in the match, you hit him at 103, you hit him at 112. Don't wait till that 160-pound match when they're dancing around and tell you I better call stalling. So they've made the point that they expect these guys to get in the middle and to work. So it shouldn't be a surprise to either wrestler that this is what's going on, for any of the wrestlers.
Which brings us to the second period of the match with no score. 160 pounds.
Quick escape by Ricky Santos.
Gives him a 1-0 lead.
Now, in this particular situation, I'm sure that Ed Schicky would not be satisfied with a 3-point decision. I think he'd like to get something more than that, whether it's a major, a tech fall, or certainly hoping for a pin.
Well, in lieu of the circumstances right now, with East Brunswick holding on to a 26-12 lead, you betcha.
Oh, he wants the points. He definitely wants the points here.
Remember now, East Brunswick has but 2 wins on the season, 2-7. Mm-hmm. Certainly not one of their sterling seasons, but of course they can erase a lot of pain with a victory here.
Well, they had a tough match, very tough match the other night against South Plainfield, where they only won one bout among the 14. So a win here, and the traditional rivalry, even though it's Group 4 against Group 1, this is a big rivalry here in the area.
Oh, absolutely.
This takes out all the matches. I mean, you could, if both of these teams came in here 0-11, this is the season.
And this will be talked about in various pubs and homes.
Well, Gail
in the area.
Marshall has been called again for stalling and has given another point to Ricky Santos. Yeah, the conversation will certainly be about this match, no matter what happens. Whether, gee, we should have won this, we could have won this. Boy, I'm glad we won this.
Score is 2-0 now with Santos in favor.
Santos. Did you say
I'm sorry. I said
We've had two
DeSantis,
DeSantises,
You're right.
and now we have Santos. Yeah, Ricky Santos, again, a powerfully built kid. Very strong up top. And Gail trying to work outside and quickly to the outside rather than go head-to-head with him. Good whizzer move by Santos to counter it.
Haven't had many stoppages in this match.
No. We moved along pretty well.
Whoa.
Oh.
Momentary lapse.
Absolutely. I was just about to say, just a little bit careless with just 7 seconds to go in this period. And Gail Marshall either has to get out of bounds, which he does.
At the buzzer.
Or he was in big trouble.
Right. So it is 2-0. Santos in favor with 1 period to go left in this 160-pound match.
Gail Marshall will take the defensive position.
I see John Mooney making his entrance.
John, a former assistant coach. They had the recreation program, which John's one of the coaches with me. He had the white team, the green and the white team, and the white team had a match tonight over at Churchill against Woodbridge, and so I'd like to find out what happened there. Coming in with a number of the young wrestlers, including Ben Goddard's younger brother Andrew, and John's son CJ, and TJ Snook, a couple of kids on the rec program.
All in the family.
All in the family coming around to see what's going on with the big guys and where they may be someday. Nice snapback by Ricky, but he loses it and gives up the escape at the same time to Gail Marshall.
2-1 now, and quite frankly, anything could happen.
Ricky caught Gail unawares there. He really snapped him down, and Gail just went back, but Ricky didn't finish it off. It's almost like he was surprised it happened, that he got away with it.
What do we have here?
Well, another warning, another call of stalling against Marshall, and a point for Ricky Santos.
Santos needs a little bit of attention.
And injury time for Rick Santos. So this is,
you know, abdominal injury.
Either a cramp or maybe stretch something out there.
That could be an important point in this match. The stall.
Trainer checking his ribs, checking how he's breathing. So I'm not sure if might have pulled something, as you said, abdominal problems of some sort. But at this point, you know, if I'm Glenn Pazinko over on the other side and I'm talking to Gail Marshall, I'm reminding him, you've been hit for 2 stalling points here. You know, we won a match earlier on violations and a disqualification. You're not that far away, and obviously these 2 guys in the stripes are not hesitant to make that call. So if you're backing up, you're going to get banged for it.
Right, and they obviously set the pattern for the evening by making that disqualification. So
that was back at 112 pounds when Mark Blackborough beat Ryan Vieira on the disqualification.
So Marshall needs to be vigilant about this.
Yeah, Gail's got to get in there, keep shooting. You know, he's losing right now. If he should lose a decision, as we said before, Glenn Pazinko is probably not going to be that upset, although he's certainly not going to be, you know, ecstatic about it. He's not going to be unhappy about losing by decision as opposed to giving up a fall. And against a kid like Ricky Santos, that's certainly, you know, a noble effort on the part of Gail Marshall. But, you know, we're close enough here that if Gail can be a little more aggressive and get in there, and I think Bill Lanai gave a motion to the other referee that we've got a stall here against Marshall, so he's going to have to shoot. He can't be careless and sloppy in doing it, but he's got to shoot.
30 seconds left to go.
He backed up again. He stepped away, backed up.
You think the official's pretty close?
I think they're close, and Ed Chickie's certainly helping him out on the sideline. He's taken a couple steps away from the bench, and he's throwing a couple of comments out there. Now we're taking another time. This time the injury is to Marshall. And it may be blood they're wiping up.
Looking at Mr. Schnedeker there, number 66, who sang our national anthem. I was talking to him before the match. He's perhaps going to Ithaca College next year, is interested in medicine.
Oh.
So one of Phil Hostler's assistants.
And he did a very nice job on the national anthem,
Yes,
which is, as we often say, not an easy song to perform. Did a very nice job on it. But you know, Glenn was making a case, I think, to Bob Millay, the referee, that you know, we're not stalling, we're moving in there, we're trying to work underneath. But I don't think they're going to hear too much of that. 19 seconds remaining here, a 3-1 lead for Ricky Santos at 160 pounds, and he's trying to make it happen right now. Gale gets in on the single as he slides past him. The whizzer in by Santos, and they're up in neutral. Boy, that was close, but a good counter by Rick Santos to get the whizzer in and prevent the takedown. They would have been in bounds. A little bit of upset by the East Brunswick crowd.
So Santos gets the win, 3-1, and you're right, that was close to being tied.
It was a very close call over there, and I think, you know, the two officials are talking in the middle right now, and I'm sure they're talking about that stall and the potential for the stall. As we go to 171 pounds, and certainly at this point we'll bring out Tommy Corio, the 171-pound GMC tournament champion. Well, let's see, I'm not sure about that now. Yep, it looks like Tommy's coming over, though Jimmy Gagnon had his headgear on and was ready to go. I'm looking at Tom. He's almost got a little smile on his face. And maybe just a feeling like, okay, I feel good going out here, Coach. Don't worry, I got it under control.
And his opponent will be who? Kevin?
Well, we had Ricky Santos scheduled in there. We'll have to see what goes on here.
What do we got?
Who is this?
Was it a forfeit? Yeah, there was a forfeit.
Okay.
All right, a forfeit at 71.
They forfeited and they jumped it up, and okay.
Got it. So this would be at 89. Kevin Cole for South River.
And I think that's Jimmy Gagnon for the Bears.
And Jimmy Gagnon for East Brunswick. So the score is now 32-15. We got
Jimmy Gagnon puts him over.
Turned him up, just grabbed him and just turned him on his back. This could clinch the match right here.
And a fall.
And that does
Whoa.
it. Boy, in the space of a 1 minute, we had a forfeit and a fall at 45 seconds.
They moved a little faster than we were watching, Jim. We couldn't even keep up with that one. Jimmy Gagnon, always a tough competitor and a hard fighter.
And with that, East Brunswick wins the match.
When right after Kevin Cole, holy cow, Kevin Cole at 189 pounds, went out there to do his job, but Jimmy Gagnon just was not to be denied tonight. At 35 seconds, a pin for the Bears and a 38-15 lead. I watched Tommy Corey go out there, and I guess that was that maneuvering back and forth, who had to put their man out first. And the decision by Ed Chicky was, I'm not putting my guy out. Forget it. Take the 6. I'll take my chances at 89. If you want to move Corey up, go ahead. But what are you going to do now, Glenn?
So we have 2 matches left, 215 and 275.
And Adam Fleischauer takes the forfeit at 215. This is a situation where Ed Chicky has just decided to, I won't say he's throwing the towel, but he's decided not to put out.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
It's 44-15 now, and we have the heavyweight left. And let's see,
and
are we going to have this?
It is Brian Forte who's going out against Rafael Dominguez for the Rams, and it's a nice gesture with Glenn. He lets a senior finish his season out at home. Forte at 3-5 on the season
against Dominguez.
It's interesting. We still say heavyweight. It's the 275-pound weight class because there is a limit, but just the same.
And there's going to be a little celebrating in East Brunswick tonight.
Well, it was a nice win. I mean, they won some bouts down below. We were talking about how down below where there really were some toss-ups, some of the guys for the Bears made a big difference. You had, Tommy Noto, who's in there and got the pin at 119 pounds, but Mark Blackborough taking that disqualification, then Christian Azzo taking a tough loss to a good wrestler in Rick Vieira. But then Mark Meyer coming back with a win, Sam Mull coming on with a win, Dave Konigsberg with a win. Ben Goddard with a win. Middleweights did very well for the Bears tonight. They came in where they might not have been expected to. Matt DeSantis winning for the Rams at 152, and then also winning with Ricky Santos there, but then bang, bang, a couple right in a row there. But the middleweights made the difference, I think, tonight for the Bears.
So,
and we are reminded that there will be a presentation after the match to the winning team, and that will be the Bears tonight. From the East Brunswick Wrestling Club and the South River Wrestling Club, sharing the honors of providing the plaque, and it goes back and forth between the two schools, and the Bears take the honors this year. Meanwhile, just 20 seconds remaining here in the first period. Rafael Dominguez for the Rams, and the Bears, Brian Forte.
While we have this moment, Bob, as we watch this 275-pound match now, give me your thoughts on the districts coming up.
Well, of course, you've got the Rams here. It looks like Dominguez going back limping a little bit there. The Rams are always going to be tough. The Bears have some individuals who might be able to do well there, but you have to look to South Brunswick again. Joe Doherty has put together a real good club over there. He's got some of the top wrestlers. In the counties, he did okay. He didn't have as good a tournament, I think, as he might have wanted to.
No score after one.
South Brunswick just finishing actually behind East Brunswick. But nonetheless, he's got some quality wrestlers. And, after that, there really isn't – it's not as strong a district. And, I have to think now myself if Old Bridge – I think Old Bridge is in the district still. And Kenny Scott, year after year after year, it gets tiring. But the Knights will be a
tiring
factor
if you're an East Brunswick
if you're anybody but from Old Bridge.
Okay,
Brian
we have a one-point
Forte
escape.
got the escape for one. The Knights will be there. The Vikings are from South Brunswick. Joe Doherty's done a real good job over there. He's just done a tremendous job in building that program up. They've got a nice rec program feeding their kids as well. So, you're still talking about the big guys are still the big guys. Old Bridge, South Brunswick. The Bears will have a shot at it as Forte pushes them off and then suddenly realizes, I got a shot at this guy. And Bob Millay will talk to both of them. Let's just make sure we're under control. Because we got a lot of beef out there, and I don't want anything hitting me.
Forte administers a block. Now they're going to be a little bit of a...
And there was a little bit of blood there on Rafael.
Forte actually might have been...
It looks like
took the worst of that.
Might have hurt his shoulder when he dove on him. But again, the districts, it's still going to be the big guys.
Right.
The other clubs have just not come anywhere close to competing with an Old Bridge, competing with the South River has their quality wrestlers on an individual basis. Tommy Noto and Ricky Santos and those kids will be there. And then the same thing over with South Brunswick having a couple of quality kids in there too. And East Brunswick, Tommy Curry will be out there. Keith Richings will be doing a good job. Gail Marshall has a shot in there. The Yanazzo brothers will be competitive. So, it's probably going to be an Old Bridge South Brunswick and South River featured tournament over there at South Brunswick High School on the weekend of the 26th and 27th of February.
And as usual, the survivors of the first, second, and third place matches will move on to the pre-regionals, which will be, as always, at Hunterdon Central High School.
Hunterdon Central has the regions, and Brian Forte with a head and arm turns over Rafael Dominguez. 1 minute to go in the second period. He's got to turn that. He's got to watch his own back, lean into it, pick up that head.
54 seconds.
And there it is.
All right. So 3 minutes and 10 seconds is the time of the fall.
And a lot of bad tastes wiped out in one fell swoop here tonight at East Brunswick High School.
Final score, East Brunswick winning 50-15 over South River. Again, you have to factor in those two forfeits.
Forfeits made a difference, but at the same time, you got to give credit to the kids from East Brunswick down below, those middleweights, with those toss-ups, they won it where they had to, and I think that was something that they really needed. They needed that kick from the kids down below so they could get to a Tommy Corio, so they could get to even a Brian Forte here at the end, a senior coming on. A nice job.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. There's going to be a presentation. We'll get back with that, and right after this. Wait a minute. After this I'll ask for your final thoughts, okay?
Okay.
And then we'll close. Okay, we're back here with the presentation, and Bob, who was giving that trophy away?
Istvan Hamza, whose son wrestled for East Brunswick a couple years ago, and Ish is one of the moving forces behind the East Brunswick Wrestling Club, presenting the trophy for the Battle of Old Bridge Turnpike to winning coach Glenn Pazinko.
Not a lot of ceremony right there. Glenn just took it and now is talking, I think, to some parents, and perhaps a couple of reporters are going to talk to him. But let's have your final thoughts on this match tonight, Bob.
Well, I think you have to give a lot of credit again to Tommy Noto, getting his over 101 wins for South River. He came in, and his twin brother also wrestling tonight, moving up and giving a very competitive match against Mark Myers. On the East Brunswick side, give all the credit in the world to the kids who won those matches down below. Mark Myers, Sam Mull, Dave Konigsberg, Ben Goddard doing a real nice job. It's been a tough year, and even for a rivalry like this, you got to get kicked up a little bit. You got to crank it up that much more, and the East Brunswick kids came out and did the job.
Okay. Well, I thank you once again for being, as always, an expert analyst in this exciting match that we had this evening. The final score is East Brunswick 50, South River 15. You heard it right. East Brunswick moves to 3-7. South River evens its record at 8-8. So that'll do it this evening. For Bob Cancro, this is Jimmy Allinder saying thanks for being with us.